Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad, or maybe good afternoon or evening, depending where you are joining us from. Welcome to our live launch coverage for Starlink 4-4, launching from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, but also a very exciting moment for SpaceX, as for the first time, they will fly a Falcon 9 for the 11th time. So this will be its 10th reflight after its original mission. But the first time that we are seeing a booster get a Dash 11 marker. Elon, when they first brought out Falcon 9, said, "Oh, we can go 100." NASA and SpaceX said, "Let's go for 10 first," and they're starting to beat those numbers and start ticking up. So, exciting moment to see this happen, and hopefully we'll see another successful landing of today's booster down onto, of course, I Still Love You. But as we get started, as always, take a moment, let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to welcome you in here, but we are here live at the second launch window that was possible for today's launch. If you had looked at when this stream was originally scheduled, it was about 4 hours earlier than this. And that's something we're seeing more often now with these Starlink and Falcon missions, is that they're actually able to schedule two launch windows for some of their missions. That way, if the first window doesn't work, if they haven't started going into fueling, they can hit pause, delay the launch about 3-4 hours, and go into another window. And that's what we're seeing happening here today. But everything is progressing well. We heard on mission control audio as we were getting ready to have a go for prop load that the range is green and that everything is getting ready to go here. But as you guys let us know where you're watching in from, take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. It does help us out as well. And if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat. Tag us at the launch pad, and we're going to quickly run through some of the stats here before SpaceX goes live and gives us an update on the booster. But as I said, today we're looking at Starlink 4-4. This is the fourth group in the fourth shell of the Starlink constellation, but only the third launch. 4-2 we have not seen occur yet, so we're waiting to see when that one will happen. Today's booster number is 1051-11 with a 223-day turnaround. There are two boosters now that have completed the 10th flight and are ready to go for their 11th. They're going through refurbishment, and that is what we are currently seeing. This is the first of those. On board, 15,000 kilograms or 33,000 pounds of Starlink satellites going into a very different orbit from what we've seen launch from Vandenberg, that we saw them change to 53.2 degrees. Much more like an orbit we would see them launch from Cape Canaveral or even Pad 39A at Kennedy, not at Vandenberg. So a very steep angle launching to the northeast rather than into a more normal polar orbit that we've seen from Vandenberg. So we'll maybe hear why during SpaceX's stream they've chosen to do that without doing a dogleg maneuver. They're going to be holding quite tight to the coast this morning. Well, you're hearing a little bit of mission control chatter, so we'll try to listen in there. Of course, I Still Love You is 638 kilometers downrange with the support of the Scorpius tug and support ship Adele Elise. The fairing cast will be recovered by NRC Quest, 688 kilometers downrange. Both of the fairings are new. This is the 132nd Falcon 9 flight, the 73rd flight with reflown boosters, and the 77th reflight of a booster in general. And today is the 134th orbital flight attempt of 2021 from any company. And the 29th launch for SpaceX of 2021. They continue pushing that record forward. 27 was where they tied it. And we know we have at least two more Falcon 9 launches scheduled within the next 96 hours. We have a CRS-23, as well as we have Turkisat, I want to say 4A, but we have another Turkisat launch. So we hope you will join us for both of those. Great to see so many people joining in here. We've got Justin's in Kansas, Nathan's in the UK. We got Paul from Sand Island, New York. Great to have you. We got Marcus in Florida, Trevor's in Georgia, And it's great to see you all here. Williams in Tennessee. We got Fairgrounds in Cornwall, England. Thanks for being here. Eddie's got a question. Any thoughts? Which mission will the converted Falcon Heavy side booster be used for? That's a great one. That we saw some of those pictures from Kennedy of one of the Falcon Heavy side boosters that's now been converted into just a regular Falcon booster. But we haven't had any information on what that's been assigned for just yet. So we're waiting to hear on that, Eddie. But we'll hopefully have that soon here. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the launch pad. You're watching our live coverage of the launch of Starlink 4-4 5B. There we go. Thanks, Chris. Hey, Nightcat. Hello from Philippines. Good to see you. Thanks so much, Kane. Appreciate it. Brett from Sydney, Australia. Appreciate it. If you're just joining us, though, and you guys have questions, let us know in the chat. Just take us at the Launchpad. And as we get started, you can let us know where you're watching from. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. And if it's not, hit that like button. It's a free way of helping support our channel. And let the YouTubes know that you like space and think other people might be interested in it, too. We are expecting SpaceX to go live pretty much any minute now. Today's liftoff time is 4:41 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 7:41 p.m. a.m. Eastern, or 12:41 UTC. So we'll be interested to see here. Did you hear of a scrub? Let's see here. Some people are texting in scrub, so let's take a brief moment. Not hearing anything about that. I'm hearing that RP1 load is complete. I'm hearing that the fog machine has been turned off this morning in Vandenberg, and people can actually see the booster, which is different than normal. Stage 2 lock load has started. I don't believe there's a scrub. Daryl from Oklahoma, good to have you. Chris is from the Triangle, North Carolina. Thanks for being here. Brett's in Sydney. Gabriella's in Australia. Great to have you all here. Hello from Israel. Indy, good to see you. Glad to have you all here this morning. Oh, okay, Michelle. Interesting. I wonder why. Interesting. Well, we're more than welcome to have everyone here. If you share the links out, we would be appreciative. We're glad to have everyone join us here this morning as we count down towards our liftoff attempt here just 25 minutes from now. So we are expecting SpaceX to go live in just a couple of minutes. That's what I'm wondering, Chris. There we go. Just on cue, we got the SpaceX feed. So we're going to get ready to patch that in for you guys. Of course, when they go live, we'll patch in, get an update on the rocket, continue our live commentary, then through launch, we'll have the uninterrupted sounds of mission control. And then we will continue. So a very quick deployment here today, just 15 minutes and a little bit after launch. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that as well as we count down towards that liftoff to have some update on that trajectory and just that fast deployment. We've seen the quick deployment on the last three fourth shell launches, that they are able to get into that orbit a little bit quicker and not have to have that hour and about 15-minute long deployment that we were used to. But we're excited to see another batch of satellites get dropped off into their orbit of 540 kilometers. SpaceX working its way towards having that fourth shell completed. The fourth shell will consist of 1,584 satellites, so they do have quite a few more to go. It'll have 72 different orbital planes with 22 satellites in each plane. So even though they're dropping off 50, 60 at a time, they're actually going to be separating them off into different planes of orbital existence, and there'll be 72 of those, and that's how they're able to maintain a consistent sphere of coverage over a region. This is just one of 8 shells that they are building to make this constellation be able to be a success. Got a question coming in from Trevor. I had to work yesterday during Booster 4 testing. Was it a pressure test? Chris is saying, think it's just a pressure test. I'm not sure. Looked like it was a cryo test that they completed. It did get quite frosty in the top half of the booster. We didn't see any stuff from Elon about the test itself, but we did see a really great video from him from right under the booster. They did a gimbal test, steering test of the booster, and where they moved the center engine and the outer rings. And we heard some updates. We're going to have an update coming out later today, but we'll talk about it here really quick. Starship Booster 5 will have 33 engines. That's confirmed. Future Starships, the ship itself, 3 sea level Raptors, 6 vacuum Raptors. That is something they're actually doing. They're not doing 3, they're doing the 6, which I thought they would. They had the room for it, and that's going to help them give them even more thrust in orbit that they need. So very interesting to see this iteration beginning. Also, confirmation that Raptor 1 into Raptor 2, we're seeing a change of over 60 million pounds of thrust per engine. So we're talking quite a big change in the future of Starship. Plus, we know that new engine's coming because Elon says that the Raptor is not what will make us multi-planetary. If you're just joining us, hit that like, subscribe button. Join us for our live launch coverage of Starlink 4-4. We're going to patch in SpaceX Mission Control for an update on the rocket and the booster as we count down towards liftoff at 4:41 a.m. Pacific time. If you have questions, tag us at the launch pad in the chat, and we'll be answering those in between the launch sequence here. But we're glad to have you here with us for our live launch coverage. Take a minute, share out the broadcast as well. It really does help us out. Let's listen in.
Hello, it's Saturday, December 18th, and you're looking at a live view of Falcon 9 as it awaits its 4:41 a.m. Pacific time launch from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base off the coast of California. My name is Yo Mezo, and I'm a propulsion engineer here at SpaceX, joining you from our headquarters about 150 miles south of the launch site. Thank you for joining us for our 34th launch of Starlink and our final Starlink mission for the year. Looking back, 2021 was a really exciting year for Starlink. We deployed more than 800 satellites to low Earth orbit and connected over 100,000 customers around the globe in more than 20 countries and regions, and still counting. If you've been following Starlink development, then you'll know that Starlink is a constellation of multiple satellites that orbit the planet at about 550 kilometers and have the potential to service the entire globe. Because Starlink does not rely on traditional ground infrastructure, it is ideally suited for areas of the globe where connectivity has typically been a challenge or non-existent, such as rural or remote communities. Today's launch will send 52 Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit, which brings us one step closer to near global coverage of the populated world. A bit later in the webcast, we'll share a progress update on the Pakanjikum tribe, which has been using Starlink in a remote part of Canada over the last year. The latest weather forecast is favorable for liftoff. The vehicle, satellites, weather, and range are all looking good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now. Let's take a closer look at the rocket on your screen. You're looking at a live view of Falcon 9. The 2-stage rocket stands 70 meters tall. That's greater than the wingspan of a 747 aircraft. Now, the bottom 2/3 of the vehicle is the first stage. Its job is to accelerate the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere into space with the help of the 9 Merlin engines at the base of the rocket. It's also the part of the booster we recover and reuse, and today actually marks the first time we're flying a booster for the 11th time. You may be able to see the soot markings left over from its previous 10 flights. We will be attempting to recover the first stage again on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which for reference is about the size of a football field. If successful, it will make the 98th recovery of an orbital class rocket. Now, on top of the first stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage, which is a composite structure that connects the first and second stages and houses the pneumatic pushers that allow the first and second stages to separate during flight. Now, on top of the inner stage is the Falcon 9 second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine. And once the first and second stages separate at about 2.5 minutes into the mission, the MVAC engine will ignite and carry the Starlink satellites to a low Earth orbit. While Vandenberg is primarily suited for polar launches, today we'll actually be sending our satellites to a 53-degree inclination. And you'll notice the large nose cone at the top of the rocket. This is called the satellite fairing. The fairing houses the 52 Starlink satellites and protects them until the vehicle is outside the Earth's atmosphere, at which point the fairing separates to expose the satellites to space. Just as we reuse Falcon 9, we recover and reuse our fairing halves. The fairing halves that we're using today are flight proven. For one of them, it is the third flight, and for the other half, it is actually the fourth flight. And we will be attempting to recover these halves again once they return to Earth.
So a slight change there. These are reused fairings, not new fairings like we originally said there. If you're just joining us, though, welcome here to our live launch coverage of Starlink 4-4.
Propellants have been loading on the vehicle since T-minus 35 minutes. Falcon 9 is a bipropellant vehicle, which means it uses two propellants, a fuel and an oxidizer. An oxidizer is a type of chemical that a fuel requires to burn. Now, most burning on Earth uses oxygen, which is readily available in the atmosphere. But in space, there's no atmosphere to provide oxygen or any other oxidizers, so rockets need to carry up their own. Now in Falcon 9, our fuel is a refined form of kerosene known as RP1, and our oxidizer is a super chilled liquid oxygen called LOX. The liquid oxygen is chilled well below its boiling point so that it becomes what we call densified. And that just means we can put a much greater amount of mass per volume and load more of it into the booster. In addition to its propellants, Falcon 9 also needs an ignition source in order to go, and for that we use the chemicals TTEB, or triethyl aluminum and triethyl borane. When it is fully fueled, Falcon 9 holds just over 1 million pounds of propellant that the vehicle will burn through in less than 3 minutes after liftoff. Currently, fuel is nearly fully loaded on stage 1 and full on stage 2, with liquid oxygen just about full on stage 1 and about 30-40% on stage 2. Once all tanks are full, both stages will continue to be topped off with propellant until T-minus 2 minutes to keep temperatures as cold as possible. The latest weather forecast shows we are favorable for liftoff. With that, the vehicle, satellites, and range continue to look good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now. If for some reason we don't launch tonight, we do have a backup opportunity for tomorrow.
Stage 1 RP1 load is complete.
And if you just heard there, stage 1 RP load is complete, coming down to T-minus 6 minutes, 10 seconds and counting until liftoff here. We had some great questions, so keep sending those in the chat. Take a minute, share out the broadcast as well. Let people know that we're counting down the last few minutes until liftoff here. The next major event that we will be seeing is Strongback Retract, and that's going to be that big arm that's behind Falcon 9. Just peel its way back just a little bit before launch, and it'll retract a large amount during the actual launch sequence. On your screen, they're showing a little bit about a Canadian town that was able to bring Starlink in and become connected more so than they've ever been able to before. And we're seeing a lot of this through some of the fires we've seen in the States and different things where Starlink is really being able to help make people connected for the first time to high-speed internet. We're coming back up on Starback Retract as we come down to T-minus 5 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help us out. We're going to keep listening in here once we get to startup. That's where we'll drop into mission control comms uninterrupted there for liftoff. We had a few questions. What does 4-4 mean? This is the fourth batch of satellites going into the fourth constellation, fourth shell of the Starlink constellation. Now, we haven't seen the second launch yet. 4-2 hasn't occurred. So this is only the third flight. But these satellites get serialized and positioned into a orbit, and that's why this is the 4-4 mission. 4-2 satellites are still waiting for launch. Chris, there hasn't been one for many, many years. The last one was probably 2016 or 17, I believe, out on Slick 40. It's been quite a while. Maximus, how many Falcon 9 boosters are in operation? I want to say there's 12 of them right now. I'd have to double check on that, Maximus. That's a good question. But there's a few of them that are in longer refurbishments right now. Like this one had a 223-day turnaround. There we go. Strong back retract. You can see that tower slowly retracting away from the booster there on your screen. Trevor, our lake property can't get wired web, so Starlink's the best option. Exactly. That's awesome, Trevor. Great to have everyone here. Matthew, I wasn't paying attention when they're launching. They are launching Starlink into another Starlink constellation. We don't have the exact number that are on board today, but we believe it's somewhere in the 50 range, and they are launching into a 53.2 degree inclination, a very different inclination than we normally see them launch. But we will see how that progresses. Randy, yes. So head over to Starlink.com, I believe it is. You can sign up to learn more, and they'll let you know. It is just like any other internet. You pay for your dish, and then you pay for your monthly service. Right now, SpaceX is losing about $2,000 per dish. Or so. That's what they were losing on the first generation. But they wanted to dishes out, get the first people online, and then they can recoup their money over the years of service fees. It's very competitive in its pricing for its service. The most expensive part is just actually getting that dish. But as we come down to the last 2.5 minutes here, we're going to listen in uninterrupted to mission control as we go through major part of the count here. As always, if it's your first time here, welcome here at the launch pad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. We believe space is better together, so hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. If you're a regular, hit the like. It does help us as well. I know it's annoying hearing it, but yeah, let us know in the chat any questions you have. We will answer those during the coast phase coming up to deployment, but we're going to listen in. Also, as we come down to T-minus 2 minutes, let's see, as always, that go, no go in the chat. Should we go for launch? But let's listen in to Mission Control Hawthorne.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
Just finished loading liquid oxygen onto the second stage. And again, those little white clouds venting from the side of the booster are from the TE LOX line and are totally expected. Again, at T-minus 1 minute, Falcon 9 will be in startup. And that's when the autonomous flight computers will take over control of the launch, and stage 1 and stage 2 will begin pressurizing for launch.
Falcon 9 is in startup. Go for launch. Falcon 9 is in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup. Launch director will give that final go
T-minus
here
30.
shortly.
Go for launch.
The launch director has given that final go for launch. All systems are looking good. Let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes our 52 Starlink satellites to
T-minus 30.
orbit.
T-minus 30.
Here we go. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15. You can see the cutoff there. Falcon is pressurized, ready for flight. 10,
10,
9,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9. Go Starlink. There goes pushing down range. Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
So on the bottom right of your screen, you're seeing live telemetry from Mission Control Hawthorne. And on the top left, those live views. And we'll see their simulated views as well. But you can see that plume launching off from Vandenberg. Slick 4E as a successful launch today, coming up in T plus 1 minute into flight.
Preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure, which we should see in just a few seconds
Falcon
here.
is supersonic. Max Q.
We did just pass through max Q. Now we will have 3 events happening in quick succession. First, we will have main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation, and second, engine startup 1. Now first, main engine cutoff, or MECO, is where all 9 of the M1D engines shut off to slow the stage down in preparation for stage separation. This is where the first stage and the second stage separate, with stage 1 starting to make its way back down to Earth for landing, while stage 2 continues on its journey to orbit.
MVAC chill has started.
Now the third event is second engine startup 1, and this is where that single MVAC engine on the second stage lights up and propels the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit. Just a few seconds after second engine startup 1, there will also be fairing deployment, so you'll want to keep an eye out for that.
This is the first time a booster has launched for the 11th time. We're coming up on main engine cutoff and separation. Second stage ignition. That should be MECO. We should see
MECO.
stage separation here.
Stage separation confirmed.
There we go. And ignition. There we go.
MVAC ignition.
You just saw stage separation, main engine cutoff, and second engine startup 1.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There you can see the fairing halves popping off, revealing our 52 Starlink satellites. We have had successful fairing deployment. Again, SpaceX has reflown Falcon fairing halves since November of 2019. And again, that was our 3rd flight for one of those halves and the 4th flight for the other. We will be attempting to recover those halves once again when they return to Earth. Now, as stage 2 heads towards its targeted drop-off orbit, stage 1 will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back down to Earth. The first is the entry burn, where 3 of the M1D engines will reignite, and this helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn, and this is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle's speed down rapidly in order to land on our drone ship. If you're just catching up with us, we have had a successful launch of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base, and you're looking at a live view of Falcon 9's second stage as it delivers our Starlink payload to orbit. Stage 1 is currently making its way back to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is stationed in the Pacific Ocean. Now the Merlins on the first stage are optimized for sea level, and these achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent and descent. And in contrast, the MVAC engine that you see there is optimized for 220,500 pounds of thrust in vacuum. The main difference between these 2 engines is just the size of those nozzles. On the first stage, Falcon 9 is equipped with 4 hypersonic grid fins, which are positioned near the top of the stage, and these are used to help steer the first stage as it returns to Earth.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
We are about a minute and a half from the start of our stage 1 entry burn. Again, this is a 20-second burn that will slow the first stage down as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. The Falcon 9 first stage is also equipped with 4 landing legs made of state-of-the-art carbon fiber with aluminum honeycomb. These are placed symmetrically around the base of the rocket and deployed just prior to landing. Second stage continues to look good there, carrying our payload of 52 Starlink satellites.
So we're going to be coming up on that entry burn of booster 1051, and we're hoping to have a successful landing. This will be the first time a booster has landed for the 11th time, and we're going to be seeing this more and more as we see these flight-leading boosters push the envelope with what reusability looks like. If it's your first time here, welcome to the Launchpad. You're watching our live Starlink 4-4 coverage. On the top left of your screen, you have the live views of the rocket. On the bottom right, the live telemetry of where stage 1 and 2 are actually going. We meant to punch that in a little bit for you guys, so sorry about that. But you can see that raw live telemetry on where the two are actually headed. We're coming up on that entry burn. That looks
Stage
like entry
one,
burn startup. There we go.
There's the start of our stage 1 entry burn, 20-second burn.
We will go full screen for the landing here.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Did just have a successful stage 1 entry burn. Now for those who follow along,
Stage 1 flight termination system is safed.
for those of you who follow along, you'll know that the soot on the rocket indicates that it's been flown before. You can't quite see it in those views from the first stage right now, but when the rocket grade kerosene or RP1 used to fuel Falcon 9 burns, it's actually carbon based, so it generates soot. And now as the booster approaches its landing site during descent and performs its long re-entry burn, which it just did, it actually flies through its own plume and the soot is deposited on the booster. If you watch
Stage
from the
1 transonic.
if you watch the feed from the onboard camera during landing, you can hopefully see the soot sticking on the lens.
Getting ready for
Stage
that
1
landing
should
burn.
be starting here really shortly, just a few seconds. Again, this is also a 20-second burn.
Vehicles and terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Landing
Stage 2
burn
flight
start.
termination system is
It's
safe.
less than a kilometer. Half a kilometer
We
from
did
the
just
drone
start our
ship.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Hopefully we'll see a view, but unlikely at this point. And that should
Stage
be
1 landing leg
booster.
deploy.
There's landing leg. Oh. Come on. There's always a delay in the camera feeds and the telemetry. You can see the drone ship getting shaken up there. And that looks like a
Eco 1.
booster right on the
You
money.
can see we did just have successful first stage landing of our 98th overall orbital class
Stage 1
rocket.
landing confirmed.
And this includes both Falcon 9 and Heavy first stage landings. We heard the call out during that stage 1 landing that we did have second engine cutoff 1. We're just waiting for confirmation of a
Nominal
good
orbit
orbit.
insertion.
We just heard the call out for nominal orbital insertion. So next up, we will be having payload deploy at about T plus 15.5 minutes. Unfortunately, at that time, we won't have ground station coverage, which means we won't have a visual or data confirmation of a successful deployment until we acquire signal at our Mauritius ground station at about T plus 50 minutes into flight. Until then, sit back and enjoy the space jams, and we'll see you soon.
Expected loss of signal.
With that, we're going to take some time to answer your questions. If it's your first time here, though, hit that like, subscribe button. It helps us out. Also, take a moment, check out our shop online. It's launch day, so you can get 10% off your whole order. Still got time to order your Deck the Halls with Many Rockets, your Ugly Starbase, and your Hoppy Xmas shirts, as well as different things like that for your Starship orbital flight test countdown. So take a moment, check that out, helps us out. If you have questions, you can send those in the chat. Just tag us at the launch pad, and we're going to answer that as we await the next couple minutes for deployment here. But there we go, the 11th flight of a booster complete. 52 more Starlinks on their way into orbit, and it was great to see another successful flight. David, it went from 900 kilometers an hour to 0 less than a minute. Amazing. That's the power of the Merlin engines. It's pretty great here. Who else is he? Hey Chris, how's it going? We will be jumping over into live comms, so if you guys haven't yet, you guys can take a moment and join our Discord as well. It's totally free to do so. We hang out in the live comms after launches and during the week as we get ready for live events. Gasp! Calling Starbase ugly. It's an ugly Starbase Christmas T-shirt and sweater. I should formalize the whole title. But it was another good launch here today. I'm glad to have you all here. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the launch pad here at TLP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, and we believe space is better together. So we invite you to be active in the chat like you guys always are, over on Discord, subscribing. We've got some huge plans for 2022, Starbase cams, other launch cams. We're excited to start sharing that with you very soon on our new website launching in the new year. But this is just year one coming, wrapping up here. We started January 1st, 2021, and we're excited to do a look back in just a week or so and get ready for 2022, where we go to the second level. We got some big plans for you guys. Joe, the sweater is ugly as per Chris. Yeah, there we go, Joe. Aiden, do you have kid sizes? We do have some. We've got some baby infant sizes. If there's something specifically you want in a kid size, we're working on getting those up on the store. They're not up yet, but if there's something that you would like, if you just send us a message on the Etsy, there should be a contact button. We can then go in and make sure that item goes up right away for you. But yes, we can do kid stuff. That was always the plan, but we got the adult stuff up first just because it was a little bit faster. But we do have kid stuff ready to go. It just needs to be uploaded. We do ship from different places around the world, so you don't have to worry about ordering and getting stuck on a cargo ship in the middle of the ocean. If you're over in Europe, we have some Europe distribution. If you're in Australia, we have Australia distribution. If you're in North America, we have Canada, US, and Mexico distribution. So there are options for it. Do you think Elon says, fly, my pretties at deployment? Depending on the time of night, and if he's maybe done a little of the woohoo, then maybe, but we'll see. Mars landing looked like it was very close to the coast of Mexico. Was the drone strip in Mexico territorial waters? So how did SpaceX have permission? It was pretty close to the coast. I'm not sure how close. It was 600 and, let me confirm this, 638 kilometers downrange from the launch complex, so it was probably just on the edge of the territorial waters. Question, are the second stage Merlins ever reused from former first stage? That's a great question, Dennis. Thanks for sending that in. No, they are ultimately different engines. So on the Falcon 9, and I'd grab the Falcon behind me, but I don't want it to fall over right now. But we're working on getting a demo unit for here in the studio for the new year. There's two different size engines. You've got your Merlin engine on the bottom for the first stage, which there's 9 of them. And then on the second stage, you have one vacuum Merlin engine. And the size comparisons, like a pop can and a 2-liter soda bottle for it. They're very large, different size in their scale, similar to what we see with the Starship, with the sea level Raptors and the vacuum Raptors. So they are not interchangeable. But that's a good question. David, when does the fairing come back? Generally, we used to hear that was about T plus 45 minutes into flight is when those would make their descent down. So we'll normally hear a tweet or something about that. Janny from South Africa, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing well and safe. Kyle saw it in San Diego. That's awesome. Joe, recovery vessel Bob should be out in the water looking for ferrying. SpaceX isn't really concerned about the ferrying. It's harder, cheaper. Yeah, absolutely. We are coming up to that payload deployment, so we'll listen in, but they're not going to have confirmation of payload deployment because they have no ground stations. So we're having to wait till they reconnect with the ground stations in South America. So we will listen in, but we should be seeing deployment right now. That is deployment time. So we should have had deployment of 52 Starlink sats but we'll be waiting a couple more minutes until we have confirmation, and then we'll wrap it up for this morning. A nice quick one. So keep sending in those last questions if you have any. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage, exclusive interviews with NASA astronauts, the Inspiration 4 crew, lots of things like that. And we got some big plans in 2022 that we can't wait to tell you, with some exclusives as well. So lots of things coming. Howard, what happens after second stage deployment? So the second stage will actually then reignite its engine and do a deorbit burn to bring it down into a lower orbit where it'll decay safely and land in a designated landing zone. From Kennedy, when they launch there, or Cape Canaveral, we normally see this being near Australia. Obviously with Vandenberg it'll be slightly different, but there is a designated spot that it will splash down and just be junked into the ocean. That is a figure. Yeah, so it's not just the nozzle. That's I agree. I thought that originally as well. Like, just switch the nozzles out, right? The actual engine itself is substantially different. We're working on a few videos that go into all of that for the new year, so stay tuned for those. We're gonna do a kind of a simple guide to the difference of Raptors and the difference of Merlins, trying to have easy, accessible educational content for individuals, but also for schools and stuff, because there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that our kids aren't being taught, and there's a lot that we don't know. So we want to make that stuff easy, accessible, and not like 2-hour-long videos. You know, we're all busy, so you know, a 5-10 minute video is perfect. So no video feed of deployment, unfortunately. There's no ground station with Vandenberg. With the way they launch, that's one of the issues. There's no ground station. And they're not like Arianespace where they'd put a boat out in the water just to have a ground station. Falcon's a smart enough rocket that they don't need it. So right now, there's no telemetry of the rocket. It's just doing its own thing, and it knew when to deploy. So we will have confirmation. Maybe we'll see a live view if the Starlinks are still close enough. But at this point, payload deployment should have been about 3 minutes ago. So we're excited to see here. Trevor, I really enjoy the non-live content you've posted. Always learn more. That's awesome, Trevor. I'm glad you appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not either, Dennis. And there's, I'm glad that that's why we're here. We love answering questions, so can never feel bad about sending in a question. And there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and if I don't know it, I'll say it, and then we'll look it up and bring it back to you. Are those second stage Merlins vacuum rated or near vacuum rated? So they're a vacuum Raptor. Yeah. Hey Cameron, how's it going? Theo, what about African distribution? I don't believe we have a distribution yet in Africa. I think the company's working on it though. But we're working on it. But most of our stuff would ship out of Europe into Africa, which is easy enough. You're not worrying about a cargo ship. Again, if you're just joining us, you just missed about 20 minutes ago the launch of Starlink 4-4 booster 1051, taking off for the 11th time, the first time a Falcon has flown for the 11th time. And we've seen a successful orbit, and we're just waiting for confirmation of a good deployment. If you see on your screen that white line, you see where it starts getting dotted blue. That is where we are expecting them to possibly be picking up some of the possible ground station information for it. So we should hopefully hear shortly confirmation of that deployment here. So the fairings separate just after we have booster separation, actually, in second stage ignition. And then the fairings re-enter as well. They kind of hover down. Excuse me. It's a bright and early one and no coffee yet. They'll re-enter and then they splash down under chute, I believe. into the ocean there, and then they're recovered by a boat. Thanks, Kate. Appreciate it. Yeah, stage 2 is not recoverable. Not yet, at least. SpaceX doesn't seem to make that a priority. Rocket Lab is. So we'll see what happens with Rocket Lab's new Neutron rocket. But right now, Falcon's focusing on just its mass reusability at the first stage. The second stage is such a small part of it that they said it's easy enough just to build new second stages. They're pretty generic. The first stage is where the biggest part is, the most engines, the most equipment. So second stage is really just an engine to push and then an engine to deorbit. That's kind of all it needs to do. Chris, which were we? Let's send some memes. Maybe it gets active. It gets pretty active every now and again. Not really the focus of the channel, but it does happen. Nope, they're a private company, so they would not be able to do that, Thomas. But good question. Robert Isaac, do you know if it'll be standard for the Vandenberg Space Force-based launches to have such rapid deploys of Starlink? What effect that might have on chances of coverage of the deploys? So it does depend on the inclination they're going for, which won't change because Shell 4 is always at 53.2 degrees. But what changes is where they're putting out that orbital... I'm blanking on the words. Excuse me, guys. Let me find the word I'm trying to say. The orbital plane. So depending what plane they're going into, it does affect a little bit of where they're launching towards for it. So it is something that we will see a little bit less coverage like this, like normal, launching from Vandenberg, just because there's no ground stations from California really until they cross over here, South America. So that's going to be pretty normal, unfortunately. The quick deployment, it will be... It'll be quick deployments. For the first bit, there's 1,542 satellites going into this constellation Shell, Shell 4. Once it gets busier, then they start going from these more wide open windows to instantaneous launch windows. And that is when we will see much more specifics of they have to launch to this second to get these satellites in the right position, and some stuff will change then. But right now there's still some flexibility. Question, is the Guam tracking station still used? If so, then why didn't they use it today? That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's still active. We know there's a ground station in White Sands. SpaceX also has their own ground stations. It says it's still operational. Yeah, it says it's still operational, so I'm not sure, but that's a good question. It's a very good question. Not sure if it would have reached far enough. That might have been why, but possible. If you're just joining us, though, payload deployment of those 52 Starlinks should have occurred about 10 minutes ago. But we're just waiting for confirmation from SpaceX, either via Twitter or by the broadcast that those payloads have been successfully deployed. For those wondering where the recovery range is, the recovery is right in the middle of the North Pacific Ocean, south of Alaska, stretching basically from the Alaska-Russia Peninsula. There's a little area there, all the way down to Southern California. There's a large recovery zone. That's where that will be for the second stage debris for re-entry. We are hearing that we're going to be about 20 more minutes until we have confirmation of that payload deploy. So it sounds like it might not have confirmation until it comes back around for it. So we are going to wait for that. In the meantime, we're going to turn up maybe a little bit of tunes, keep sending in some questions, and we'll continue to listen in to have a confirmation of payload deployment here. Could Guam be used for the government so SpaceX can't use it? Maybe. I'm not too sure. I'd have to dive into that more, Chris. That's a good question. I haven't dived too deep into how that works with the ground stations. So I will do that and hopefully have an answer for you next time. So what we'll try to do, if you're just joining us, keep sending in some questions. We'll be answering those live as we count down towards just confirmation of payload deployment, which should have occurred almost 15 minutes ago. It can be hard to find data on the status of ground stations used in the world. Good websites needed. Absolutely. It's something that we're working on some website stuff for the new, to start releasing the new year. We're excited to share that with you guys when it's ready. But a few different ideas on what info could be available on that site. You can see the second stage passing over the southern tip of South America. Payload deployment occurring by the northern tip of South America. So those Starlinks already really beginning to stretch out. We're going to pull up some tunes here as we await for confirmation of payload deployment, and then we're going to wrap it up for this morning. But keep sending in your questions. I'll be answering those. Oh. There's acquisition of signal. Hey, there's a live view. Maybe we're going to hear earlier than we thought. There's a view inside the stage. They don't normally like showing that view. Show us the forward-looking camera. Do we have confirmation before you lose signal again to go over Antarctica?
We were able to actually acquire our ground station coverage in Punta Arenas. So if you are just joining us, a quick recap of today's mission. We had a successful liftoff from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 4:41 a.m. Pacific time. Then we had successful stage separation, recovered our first stage after its 11th flight on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, and had a successful second stage MVAC engine burn. At T plus 15 minutes into the flight, we expected our Starlink satellite to separate from the second stage. However, we did not have ground station coverage at the time. We did just pass over our ground station in Punta Arenas, and we did see our confirmation of deployment there. Unfortunately, we didn't get the cool views of the Starlink satellites separating from the spacecraft, but we did deploy our 52 Starlink satellites. And with the addition of these spacecraft, we've launched nearly 2,000 satellites to date. And with that, that brings today's webcast to a close. Thank you to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission.
And with that, they have completed the mission. The 52 satellites now in orbit, deployed, and over the coming weeks will work their way out into their final positions before they become operational. And that's going to do it for us here this morning. Just almost under that hour. We were wondering if we could do that. It was a quick launch, but a slight delay in confirmation there. But we are glad to have you all here with us this morning. If it was your first time, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this on the replay and have watched all the way through, comment replay. We want to celebrate you for watching as well and welcome you. But that is going to do it for us here this morning. We got 2 more Falcon 9s coming up in the next 96 hours. We got James Webb on Christmas Eve. We've got Virgin Orbit coming back with another launch. We've got a Soyuz on the 27th. So we've got lots more before the end of the year. We hope you'll join us for all of that, as well as some space news updates and probably 1 or 2 more bigger videos diving into some information we've been researching here. So we're glad to have you all here with us. But here at the Launchpad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, and we believe that space is better together. So we invite everyone to be part of our community by hitting that subscribe button, being active in the chat, and hanging out with us over on Discord as well. If you guys have questions, you can always send those to us over on Twitter at @TLPN_official or on the Discord under the Send in a Question tab, and we will work on answering those. But that's going to do it for us for our live launch coverage of Starlink 4-4 mission complete. This is Zach with the Launchpad, signing off. We'll see you next time.